6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, showtime.
Good afternoon to you all, the viewers out there and the listeners. Welcome to Primal Sports Center. I'm your host, Dale.
And I'm Kane the Shop Watson, back in studio. Sorry for absence last week. We had some difficulties, so we had to cancel the show, but we're back like we never left. And the show must go on.
Yes, it's a fiery show this week.
Yeah, my co-host is back from tour.
Yes.
Well, this one, all of them, they just keep traveling. I'm the only one that kind of stay grounded these days.
Just returning from the championships, the mini Caribbean championships in Guyana. A
Tempest.
wonderful experience, the kids. Well, not just the Jamaican kids, but overall it was a great tournament, full of excitement and all. But yes, Kane, now this week we'll be speaking with former West Indies great wicketkeeper Jeffrey Dujon. He'll be joining us in about 5 minutes' time. And also we'll be speaking with the Caribbean table tennis president, Teddy Matthews. He will share his views and opinions on how to get table tennis back up into the Caribbean.
Yes, we have a jam-packed show today, and we have a lot more to talk about. Football, netball, basketball is back, NBA started. Reggae girls, Morning Cup is going on. We have a host of things that we can talk about. And later on, you can join us in the show when the phone lines are open after sports commentary. But to kick things off, seeing that we're going to talk to Jeffrey Dujon in a bit, we're going to touch on some West Indies cricket.
Yes.
It's a sad time in West Indies cricket, and it has been going on for a while now. We won't really touch on that with Jeffrey Dujon, but we'll talk more about his career and his time and his tenure and how he came about playing cricket and all of that. So he'll break that down for us. But into that, we have to turn West Indies.
From the glory days to the lonely days, boy.
T20 World Cup going on right now. West Indies are out.
Yes, lost to Scotland.
Not only Scotland, but also Ireland.
Yeah, lost to Ireland in the first match, but Scotland put a nail in the coffin on Friday, beating the West Indies, sending them home. I just leaving from Guyana, the Guyanese people are very passionate about cricket.
More passionate than us.
By far.
Even Barbados.
Yeah, by far.
Trinidad, are way more passionate, and I can say that it's a dull day in West Indies cricket because, not only that we lose, we didn't lose to regular competition and top tier competition. Yeah. And that shows that right now we're in the bottom tier of cricket because we lost to Ireland by 9 wickets. We lost to Scotland by 42 runs. Scotland bowled us out. Imagine Scotland bowling you out, taking 10 wickets. We beat Zimbabwe by a paltry 31 runs, but we're supposed to beat these teams. Yeah. So we can't touch on the one victory with Zimbabwe and see it as a positive light. We are supposed to beat these so-called minnows of the sport of cricket, and it's evident. And right now, we're in that basket. The
writing has been on the wall for some time now. We lost even Bangladesh.
Bangladesh isn't so bad though. Bangladesh is in the better tier. Bangladesh is a better team than us. Come on.
Better team now.
Yeah, right? Of course, no. Yeah, Bangladesh has had victories over.
It's a sad day,
but to lose to imagine Scotland bowling out. Scotland taking 10 wickets.
Yeah, yes. But
Ireland, we only got 1 wicket against Ireland.
Exactly.
Ireland just bat up to score that put up.
Exactly.
So you can have a half day in the batting, but then now you need the bowlers to back up and vice versa. But we are subpar in both departments.
Yes, yeah.
There's no spark. There's no stuff.
We're at the bottom of cricket right now, and you can even look at Hitmaya and these guys refusing to join the team, because of IPL. So there's a situation going on with the cricket, but right now it seems that we have Jeffrey Dujon and now, so we're gonna have to join. Yes, I want to welcome Jeffrey.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports, everyone. Today with us, we have a special esteemed guest, a great West Indies cricketer, Mr. Jeffrey Dujon. We can list out all the accolades and one of the greatest wicketkeeper batsman of all time. Before my time, but I've heard all of the stories of the 1980s teams and was a part of that team. So with us today, we'll break down his career, and we'd like to welcome him to Primal Sports. Welcome to Primal Sports, Mr. Dujon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I list out all the accolades, and everybody know your tenure as a West Indies cricket batsman. But before we get to that, where did cricket all start for you?
Why? Well, pretty much at birth, you know, because my father played cricket. I actually did play for Jamaica once, and he was like my hero, you know. So I kind of was introduced to the game very, very early in my life, and you know, he used to take me down to Sabina Park from I was probably about 4 years old. So the game, I was always around the game, and you know, I come from a sporting family, so you know, all of us have kind of played sport at some kind of level. So we're natural ball players, you know, and it didn't take long for me to sort of pick up that side of things. And I just enjoyed the game. I love the game. And after I started to, you know, I mean, I didn't know anything about the West Indies when I was 4 years old. But as I started to realize how big cricket was, you know, in the world, and I watched I listened rather to the better players playing and started to know the names and whatever. It just became a dream of mine, you know, and I dreamt of playing from the West Indies before from I was probably about 5-6 years old.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I did my research and I knew this, but I just wanted to hear from you, and I saw where your father played, you have an elder brother playing, but when did it all come together for you, when you could realize that, I mean, I'm good at this, I can reach to the top level?
Well, you know, I didn't know anything about the top level as such, but I found that I was a lot better than my peers, you know, kids around my age. And it used to be very boring for them because they couldn't get me out, you know. Yeah. But when I went to, I think my active competitive cricket really started when I went to high school, when I went to Woolmers. Yeah. And I was very, very lucky, you know, in that as a youngster, first, second former, we got a new sports master, a gentleman by the name of Ron Jones, who was Welsh, actually had been on Arsenal staff at some point. So he was more of a football coach, but you know, sports masters tend to know a little bit about a lot of little things, you know. And what actually happened was, well, it was funny, but it just that same term, you know, you had the Colts team, which is the under 15, and then you had the Sunlight team, which is the older boys, and practice for the Sunlight team started first, you know, earlier in the term. So I turned out, you know, 12, 13 years old, and you know, he called me and he said, you know, youngster, the Colts start to practice next week. So I said, yes, I know that. So he said, well, you know, he didn't really say much. He said, well, okay, go and, you know, field a couple of balls. And so I was out there, and the big boys, you know, were practicing, and I'm running up and down the place, throwing back the balls. And, you know, and at the end of the practice, he called me and he said, what do you do? I said, well, you know, I'm a batsman. Yeah. So he said, okay, well, put the pads on, you know. So I put the pads on, and of course, you know, at 12 years old, the pads are up by your waist, you know, and went into the nets. And the big boys were just taking it easy, tossing up, bowling some balls to me and whatever. And I was there stroking the ball all over the place. And I was really being very aggressive, you know. And so, you know, I could say that the attitude kind of changed, you know. And, you know, everybody's run up that a little longer, you know. And they started to get serious. And I handled myself really well, you know. And it was like, I saw it in the sportsmaster's face, you know, Mr. Jones. When the practice was finished, he called me, you know, and started, just to ask me some questions, where where you're from, stuff like that. And actually, not too long before that, my father had died. And, kind of this, I kind of told him my background, and he seemed to have gone and done some research himself. And in a way, he just kind of took me under his wing and was very much a mentor to me, and ended up I would have to say being that father figure that I lost,
Yeah.
And he guided me, helped me to develop as a player, helped me to develop as a person. And I owe a lot to him, because from that point onwards, the year after he left Bournemouth, I played for Jamaica for the first time. I was still in school, made my first class century, and my career took off from there. So I have
Jeffrey,
a lot.
did you make the Jamaica team as a batsman or as a wicket keeper?
As a batsman.
While in high school, during high school.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
And you made your first class century
My
at
first,
that point
my
when you
first
were in
one
high school.
in my first season, yes, at Jarrett
Okay.
Park against Barbados. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh. So tell us, so in high school you were also a wicket keeper as well as a batsman, or is just a batsman?
Well, I started off as a batsman. We already had a wicket keeper, and to be honest, I wasn't really thinking too much about wicket keeping. It's just that I didn't bowl, and I found fielding very boring.
Yeah.
So, I started to fool around with it, and I had good ball sense, and I started to read up a little bit and learn a bit about it, and applied what I had to it, and as a result, I was a wicketkeeper for the Colts, and when I started to play Sunlight cricket, we had a wicketkeeper who was an excellent wicketkeeper, Jeffrey Mordecai, and so I was, still I played as a batsman until he left school. Then I took over as a wicketkeeper, and it sort of went along that way. Youth cricket, the same thing. The only team I never really kept wicket for was Kingston Club, who I played for all my career.
Yeah, he didn't wicket keep. You were
Even when I was a West Indies wicket keeper, I never kept for Kingston Club.
Oh, so most of the time you were bored in the outfield then.
Yes, I wasn't allowed to, because we had for one reason or another, I wasn't allowed to. So
Yeah.
Jeffrey, there's a legend, and I don't know if it's true, that you were also an excellent goalkeeper in football. Is that true?
No. I'm getting mixed up with my cousin,
okay.
Nicholas, who was. No, I was never a goalkeeper. As a matter of fact, I did play Manning Cup. I was a forward.
You're kidding?
So you played forward. Manning Cup
You're
was.
forward in Manning Cup?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, a lot of things we didn't know. I was even going to ask the question if you preferred, which one you prefer, wicket keeping or batting, but I already got the answer. I mean,
as a
batting. Well, yeah. So you're more of a batsman wicket keeper than a wicket keeper batsman.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, playing on those dominant West Indies teams, I mean, you sort of not batted as much as you could, but when you got the opportunity, I saw where you shined a lot, made a lot of centuries. But take us through your West Indies career now, from the start over this 10-year period playing for this dominant West Indies team, because I did my research, and I mean, you're a player that never participated in a losing series.
I think I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one. Really.
I mean, I trust Google and researching my researching capabilities, and it said you're the only player to never participate in a losing series.
That's correct.
That's correct. And I mean, take us through your coming from high school, playing for Jamaica, and then that breakthrough in 1981. Your debut was in Australia, right?
Yes.
In Australia.
But I played for Jamaica for a couple of seasons after leaving, before I got into the West Indies team, and there were their ups and downs. Got dropped a couple of times, and then I think it was in 1981.
1981, yeah.
Yes, I got back into the team, and I got a 100 against Barbados down at Chedwin Park, which probably ranks as one of the best innings I've played. And got selected then to go to Zimbabwe with the under 25s. And and also got selected to go to Australia. So I went to Zimbabwe first, and then from there went to Australia, and my test career started there.
Yeah. So I mean, that first test match, tell us about that feeling. You know, going out there with the team. I mean, you a lot of greats to mentor you and before, and you'll be like, all right, this is it. I'm here now. And tell us that feeling that
well, it was a weird feeling, you know, just getting into the West Indies team, and in some cases meeting players that I just heard about. I never really knew them, but I knew that it was a great team, and obviously I knew they were great players. So the pressure was on you from sort of both sides, you know, to prove yourself in the dressing room, you know, among these experienced great players, and also to prove that you belong there by, you know, how you perform against the opposition. So, you know, it was, I guess it's what you really live for, because, you know, that's what you get when you get to that level. You get that sort of pressure and whatever. And I remember, you know, the feeling that I'd never had that feeling before, because I'd never been in front of a crowd that big. Walking out to bat, West Indies were in a bit of trouble, and walking out to bat in my first test match, and there were close to 90,000 people in the MCG. It was Boxing Day. And, you know, you realize that, you know, probably there might be only about 200 that want to see you do well.
If so much. If
as much, you know.
Yeah.
And it was that was like, you know, that was like a telling point. That was the moment. That was a moment of truth. How did you do? Well, I made 40 something.
I mean, that's good. I mean,
you know, no, I did pretty good on that tour. I batted 5 times. I made 4 40s and a 50.
Yeah, that's an average over 40. The quick
over
maths.
40.
Yeah.
I think only Clive Lloyd had a higher average than mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was good, you know, and it was a good start. I felt, even though, you know, I could have gone on and did better, I felt, you know, that I'd sort of started to make a little mark, you know, and then in the last test match there, which would have been the 3rd test, I got an opportunity to keep wicket. And then that was when my wicket keeping career started, because I played the first 2 test matches as a batsman.
Okay, so you started out as a batsman, and then
made the team as a batsman.
A batsman, as a lower order batsman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then middle order batsman. Yeah.
Middle to lower.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey, you were famous when I was a schoolboy watching you play. You were famous for your dives in front of first slip and second slip, diving all the way across to save to some of the fastest bowlers in the world. Those gloves must have hurt a bit. So I want to ask you, which bowler hurt your hands the most when you were behind the wicket? No, you have to. It's a cumulative thing, you know, because you're doing it all day long, and you're taking a pounding all day long. So, you know,
get used to the touch. Right?
You didn't find any of our bowlers especially quick? There was one that was a problem for you?
Well, not in terms of pace itself, you know, but Colin Croft was a little wild, you know.
Yes.
But the fastest of them would easily have been Patrick Patterson.
Portland man.
Yes. He had a. You could definitely feel the difference, you know, when he really got it right.
Wow.
Probably have to take a few steps back to ease up off the pace.
Yes, I had to give up playing the violin.
yeah. And also, which team or which place would you say junior test career would be the hardest place to go and play? It'd be like, oh, the crowd or the environment, or it's just because I mean you've probably been all over the world to play against Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Australia, England. Where would you say is the hardest to play?
Well, the hardest places I found were the subcontinent in terms of the conditions. You know, India, Pakistan. The conditions there. Obviously, you know, you're not really used to the food. You have to be very careful. You never really feel 100%.
Yeah.
You know, very hot, and you know that in itself makes it difficult. But in terms of the hardest cricket I've played, the hardest opposition, I would have to say it would be Australia. They're tough. They're very tough people. And
I have a question from the Primal people who want to know, Jeffrey. You have seen all the best batsmen in their time. The best batsmen of all time. Who would you say is the best batsman you have seen?
Yes, you have one level.
Right.
Apart from myself.
If I was to say that, you know, it would be very
I didn't know play again. No, I fixed.
In my time, the best batsman that I played with or against would have been Sir Vivian Richards.
Thank you.
Richards,
Good.
Yeah, I mean,
good answer. Good
yeah,
diplomatic answer.
I've heard all the accolades, and I mean,
Not because he's West Indian, but he could do things that
It's good to ask them questions, you know.
and he took on the very, very best and dominated them.
Yeah.
in both formats of the game.
Yes.
And I mean, I know you're just commentating now, and you're still in and around the sport, so that gives a sense that you're within the sport. Compare cricket back then to cricket now. If you see similarities, differences, I mean, because to me, as you noted, growing up in your time, cricket was bigger. Even going to high school is to what it is now.
The
So, I mean,
bigger in the West Indies is
bigger in the West Indies, coming up in school now, but I mean, it's getting less and less. But cricket back then to cricket now, give us your take on the similarities and the differences. I mean, there's difference with T20 now, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's a different game, and you know, but generally, you know, I think that support, spectatorship, viewership tends to go with success.
But Franklin, what would have been a great?
And when I think that a lot of interest has waned in the time that, you know, since the time that of the great teams.
Yeah, the dominant teams.
The dominant teams, because the results are not there. I mean, I can tell you for a fact that when we played, people came expecting us to win.
Yeah.
It was just not a matter of if, it was a matter of how and how long, you know?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they have. I think they go to cricket more. The crowds aren't as big. They go to cricket more for the entertainment now. The entertainment that surrounds the game. I don't think the level of expectation is as high, and as a result, I don't think the game is as popular as with especially, you know, with the youngsters. I mean, in my time, every corner you looked on, they were playing bat and ball, or you know. Nowadays, it's something else. You know, it's basketball or
video games. Yeah.
You know, and the fact that the game itself, you know, as time has gone on, every sport needs support. It needs financial support, and cricket is not a cheap game.
No,
it's a lot of equipment, and as a result, it doesn't get the kind of financing that, say, with football or whatever, because one football will attract 22 people.
Yeah.
A cricket ball, you put it down there and just stay out there until it you know.
Yeah, so somebody actually kicks it.
So it's not. It's not a good political sport.
Yeah.
And as a result, it hasn't had the sort of government support that it could have gotten at the time when we were on top, which would probably have sustained, you know, the development of the game, and you know, brought more players up the right way.
Yeah, it's kind of lost its popularity.
Yes, yeah.
And I guess that waned with results and not being as dominant because, you know, in every period, you can't win all the time. So with that, probably lost some popularity and
Yeah,
struggling to get back to those times.
We don't have a problem finding money to send an athletics team anywhere, do we?
No, don't.
Why?
Yeah.
We're dominating the world.
Yeah.
Netball, same way. Because the level of expectation is so high.
Yeah, I agree with it totally. And next thing, I also researched that 1988, you won Sportsman of the Year. That to me is a great feat to win sports.
As a cricketer.
Because I mean, coming up, we know the names of Mike McCallums. I mean, now we have Usain Bolt. And I mean, to be in that company, tell us that feeling winning sportsman. Because I'm a sportsman myself. And to me, should be one of your biggest achievements.
Oh yeah, you know, I tell you something, you know, to be recognized by your country, you know, is the ultimate, and it should be the ultimate because your country is who gave you the opportunity, and for them to recognize you, it means that you took advantage of the opportunity and made them proud. I remember the night when I got the award, the female who got the award was Grace Jackson, because remember what she done in the 200.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know, Grace is not a short girl.
No.
Right? So I had to stand up on a chair to give her a kiss.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, I wanted to ask you a question. I've seen you take many catches over and over, diving to the far right to dismiss batsmen. But I don't remember seeing you ever stump anybody, you know. You ever stump anybody?
Only 5. 5 in Test cricket, 22 in all.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
I mean,
I can't remember seeing any video of that.
Not much opportunities.
Well,
we had mostly fast bowlers.
Well, I mean, I didn't spend much time up there, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
actually, I didn't even practice it. After a while, I didn't even practice it because I was just keeping wicket to fast bowling.
Most of fast bowlers back then. And I mean, we learned a lot because I didn't know all this. I mean, Sportsman of the Year, Manning Cup forward. I mean, made the team, Jamaica team.
Ask me if I'm scoring a goal in Manning Cup.
He scored any goals in Manning Cup? That's one more than me. Yeah, but I mean, I've heard all of this, but before we go, I'd like you to tell us your most memorable, couple of your most memorable memories from your cricketing career.
I didn't get that.
Couple of your most memorable moments in your sporting career, whether it's that one goal in Manning Cup, whether it's that acrobatic catch, whether it's that century. I mean, it could be anything. It could be lifting that Sportsman of the Year, but some of your most memorable moments throughout your sporting career.
Well, you know, the good and the bad tend to the good and the bad make up a life, you know.
Definitely.
And, you're talking about memorable. I think the most memorable moment in my career when I think back would be losing the World Cup in 1983. It brought you back down to earth and made you realize that you were human.
Yeah.
And that regardless of what happened that day, you know, it was something that just gave you pause because things were going so great. You know, you didn't even think about losing. And that, I think, was a point in my career that really made me stop and say, hey, you know, we are so fortunate to have had this much success.
Yeah.
I mean, this has happened, and it has happened at the worst possible time.
You said 1983 World Cup?
1983 World Cup at Lords. Yes,
World Cup.
Yes. Yeah, it would have been the only World Cup that, well, we got to the semi-finals and the second one I played, but it was the only World Cup where I could have probably cut off with a medal, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it was for that reason. The reason I just gave you, it was very, very memorable. Obviously, making your first Test century is something that's memorable. My first Test century was against India in Antigua, and it only I mean, it was a great moment. But I think the best moment for me would have been, they always say, you know, if you can't make runs in England, you can't bat.
Yeah.
You know, and I made a test century at Old Trafford, and that sort of settled in my mind that I had the equipment to make runs anyway.
Yeah. I mean, well, we learned a lot today, Mr. Dujon, and I mean, I know you're a busy man. So, I mean, from the Primal team, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out and giving us this lesson on sports on a whole.
Maybe we'll run into Jeffrey on the golf course.
That's quite possible. That's quite possible.
Yeah, so, I mean, thank you for taking the time, as I said, and from the Primal sports team and the whole Primal family, thank you very much.
Thank you,
My
Jeff.
pleasure. My pleasure. I enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you very much. All right, that was Mr. Jeffrey Dujon. Great Jeffrey Dujon. And
West Indies batsman, wicket keeper.
And what I like with these interviews, mostly with the players from the past, you can see the passion and how times were different then from how it is now. And as we connect that now to West Indies cricket now, we see where it is kind of waning in a sense, where not much cricket is even being played.
Yeah.
To get these talents again, because I mean, back then you had a lot of cricket, as you said, from high school coming up, club competition, and it venturing more and more into West Indies cricket. And I mean,
yes, and he made mention of it not being a political sport, you know, so we know how that goes.
And I like how he touched on one of his most memorable moments was from a loss.
Yeah.
And I mean, from losses, even in life, not only sports, we become better and we have life lessons. Imagine if you just win every day. You learn more from losses and you become a bigger, better champion. And I mean, being the only player to never be in a losing series. It's not like he played for one series or two. He spanned over 10 years, and I mean, making the team first as a batsman and then, you know, a wicketkeeper batsman, or batsman wicketkeeper, I should say.
He's maybe the greatest batsman wicketkeeper.
They're definitely up there.
Yes.
I mean,
top two without a doubt.
We mean the records are
average of 40 batting.
That's, I mean, I won't even call names, but a lot of people don't average 40, and they're top order batsmen.
Exactly.
And I said, sorry for the bottom order batsman, middle order batsman. So Jeffrey Dujon is a middle order batsman, big bat. But I mean,
big bat.
Yeah, but a great interview, and out, you know, taking the time out because you know he's a busy man. So
yeah, so from one sport that was flourishing in the 80s to another that was flourishing in the 80s as well. A little bit on a low now, but want to welcome the Caribbean Table Tennis President, Teddy Matthews, to Primal Sports.
Thank you much. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm not sure which country you're in. I rather suspect it's Jamaica because I'm certain I saw you here up to a couple of days ago in Guyana. I'm actually in Guyana at the moment. Hi, Kane. How are you doing? It's good to see you as well.
Yes.
But first, Teddy, we have to congratulate you because I think you created a little bit of history there at the Caribbean Mini Championship, Table Tennis Championship, by capturing all 3 gold medals. The boys under 13, the boys under 11, and also the girls under 13 for St. Lucia. So I want to congratulate you on that feat. I think that's the first time I've ever seen St. Lucia dominate a tournament of this magnitude. So congrats.
Thank you much. But I think you said 3, but that was on the same day. 2 days before that, we had won a 4th gold medal, which was the first. So what you mentioned was the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. St. Lucia had won the boys team on the 13. Then we won the boys on the 13 singles, the girls on the 13 singles, and the boys on the 11 singles. So we actually won 4 medals, which is a great achievement in a sense, given that we have a very small population size and our table tennis is not, we don't have a tremendous amount of players, but with the little resources we have, we try to work hard to create the kind of players that can compete at the Caribbean level.
Yes. So Teddy, now tell us about what is your position with table tennis. We know that you're the Caribbean president, but we hear a little about the Olympics and being the Olympic president of St. Lucia. Give us a little rundown of your portfolio.
Actually, I was elected last year to the position of Secretary General of the St. Lucia Olympic Committee. 4 years prior, I was the first vice president of that organization. And up to last year, I was on the board of directors of the International Table Tennis Federation. I actually attempted to become a vice president of the ITTF, but did not garner the amount of votes that would have caused me to have gotten on the ITTF, which would have been a plus for the Caribbean, because then I would have been able to push the Caribbean agenda from a table tennis perspective.
Yeah, and the Caribbean agenda, we all know that we're kind of behind the 8 ball in a sense with competing with the world, but there's definitely talent in the Caribbean. So what do you think we can garner this talent to become world beaters and claim our stake in the world of table tennis?
I think the remarkable thing about the Caribbean is that we have tremendous talent across all sports. As you know, as I said, I'm the Secretary General of the Olympic Committee, and when I'm all involved in multi-sports, and when I look across all the various sports, I see tremendous talent. What I don't see is how you garner the resources to make sure that the various talents that we have in the various sports can be successful. And I think it starts with us still having structures that are very old, that no longer can cause our talent to be world beaters in the future. So if we had to look at the various structures, especially in the English-speaking Caribbean, we're way behind what is actually happening in the rest of the world, where people have where countries have actually adopted what is known as the long-term athlete development program, where you start training kids from as early as 5-6 years old in a structured program, and as time goes on, if they stay in that program, you can move them into high performance. And I think that is where we have to go now. Those structures is actually not akin to any one organization. It is countrywide. It's the government has to be involved. Families have to be involved. Secondary schools, primary schools, prep schools. That's the only way to move forward, because one of the things they did in table tennis is to check at what age a player should reach their optimal level, and it's similar to gymnastics. So the expectation is that an athlete who is involved in table tennis should reach his peak at 15 years old, and beyond that is competition and experience. So you can see what has happened. If your athlete at 15 has not reached that level as yet, then it's exceptionally difficult for them to compete with the best in the world at that level and even older.
Yeah, but sounds like a lot of investment there, because to be at that peak level at 15, you have to put in the work.
Yes, you must put in the work, and the minimal hours for a table tennis player at any age who wants to compete and who wants to be involved in high performance is 10 hours with a coach. And that coach must be properly trained and know exactly what he's doing at that level, at the grassroots level.
And even so, we see in the region where there's a breakthrough in the world stage with Adriana, Puerto Rico, other Puerto Ricans, mostly Spanish-speaking country, and even to an extent, South American region, players in the top 50 in both male and female sections. So, what's the model of consistency now where we can put that towards the English Caribbean to be right amongst these talents that we also have?
Well, the model is simply the long-term athlete development program. I can say that the English-speaking Caribbean tend to have clubs, a club structure, but the clubs don't really have high performance in that club structure. So what actually has to happen is that even though you can continue with your clubs, you have to have a separate high performance facility that will garner the talent from the various clubs, and the clubs have to be part of it and to have buy-in in that. And that high performance center would have their own coaches who would be responsible for bringing the athletes up to the level so that they can compete at pre-cadet, mini-cadet, cadet and youth levels, and even the senior level for their respective countries. In the case of Puerto Rico, they have a very good structure. And if you were to go there, you will see what it is. It's lots of table tennis in various places, and they've got an academy for multi-sports, but it includes table tennis.
Yeah. My issue with table tennis is incentives. You know, why would a kid want to sacrifice all of that to play table tennis? I've I've been watching table tennis over the years, and you would have recognized that a lot of the kids they move on after the age of 15 and 16 because of the lack of incentive within the sport. And you know, without incentives, it's not going to happen. You're not going to hold them very long. So what are we going to do about that part? For example, in the Caribbean Championships, I think that we should be having huge prize money. We should be giving out prize money, and even at the junior category, you should be giving some form of prizes. You know, just to keep the kids involved. You know, a couple of my students have been asking me, "Coach, is just a medal I'm going to get? Is there anything else?" You know, they start asking these questions from a much earlier age, and I think that table tennis has not grown in that department. So what are we as a Caribbean region can do to enhance that part of it? Because it's very important.
Yeah, to get more players in.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things is obviously you cannot pay anybody who's younger than 18 years old any money, because as you know that table tennis is an Olympic sport, so that definitely is an issue. The ITTF has created the World Table Tennis. That's where you will find the money competitions at the youth level. If you were to follow the youth calendar for next year, you will see many competitions around the world, and those competitions do have prize money. At a regional or continental level, that has not been worked out as yet. I think at the continental level, that can happen. Other than that, there are prize money competitions in the States and the like. The Caribbean Region Table Tennis Federation itself does not have a money competition, and right now I don't think we have the mandate to do that. We would probably have to form a separate organization if we were to do that. And then of course you have to look at the cost aspect before you even consider the revenue side, before we could even move forward at that. But that is something that I think other heads, as time goes on, would have to think about and try to see if they could realize that.
Yes, I most definitely think that should be priority at this point, because I think we have been doing this for over 40, 50 years, and I don't see the level. I don't see the level of the players going much further if we don't create that kind of incentives, both for juniors and senior players. I think that should be, in my opinion, I think that should be priority, because when you look at other sports, the flourishing sports around the world, that's exactly what they
Lawn
do.
tennis.
You know, they have that
Basketball,
incentives, whether it's marketing, you have shoe deals with contracts. You know, I think that we have to move away from the amateur kind of thing and get more professional if we really want the Caribbean level to rise. So
I understand your point, but remember that at the youth level, it's under 19, right? So we got to be very careful about what we're saying here, because the senior level, that's really where you would think about incentives and the like, and for revenue generation for athletes.
Yeah.
Now, as I said, players would have to get to that level. And that is why I was saying that the LTAD is so important to try to get back the Caribbean levels to some level, some standard. Because if you look at Puerto Rican players or Adriana makes substantial amount of money because she is one of the highest ranking players in the world. And of course, there's lots of sponsorship deals for her and the like, and she's from the Caribbean. So one of the fundamental things that must happen throughout the Caribbean countries that are involved in table tennis is to attempt to get these players to a very, very high standard. Because once you get to that standard, what happens is much easier to start to make money. Now, that being said, remember that it's not every single table tennis player that will be able to earn a living playing table tennis, because we are not a team sport per se. It's more of an individual thing. You will find 1 and 2 or 3 players emerging and get into that level, being able to compete at the World Table Tennis competition, being able to play for clubs in Europe, and being able to play for even clubs in China. So I would think you may think that's ambitious, but I think that is where we need to go now. Because as I said, I can tell you that there's tremendous talent in the Caribbean. We are competing with other sports. For example, look at football. each country in the Caribbean gets, I understand, about 3.2 million US dollars, somewhere around there, to push football. But yet I'm not seeing a football league and people being paid for football in the Caribbean with that kind of money being pushed into the sport. In our case, we come from a sport that really and truly, I think that I can say we are poor. If you were to look at the ITTF and its balance sheet, it's they don't have a lot of money. They can't even afford to give anyone any kind of funding. So that is one of the hurdles that we have, and our strategic plan that started in 2016 and it was supposed to go to 2024, which is to some extent has been skewed by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's when we look at how things have gotten very, very bad over the last 2 to 3 years, it'll take us another 5 years to get back on track. So I do believe that players can earn a living in table tennis, but they have to get to the top of their game. And as I said, it will not happen overnight. I think if you start at time zero, if you were to consider now as time zero, I would think about 10 years you would have to wait before you start seeing those kind of athletes emerging.
Yes, and I'm even in regard to marketing of the players. I'm not sticking to the Caribbean. I'm international wise. Why would a kid in Africa choose table tennis? You know, you look at Africa, it's such a big continent with lots of talent, maybe even more than the Caribbean, but yet still you don't have much from Africa. Basically, you just said it a while ago, you know, we're competing with other sports. So you'll find that majority of the talent will go off into football, into these other sports because of the incentives. So I think it's going to be difficult for us to reach to the level without that incentive package at the top. You know, I don't think we're going to reach a level, then the incentive will come. I think we have to somewhat find a way. The ITTF, not just we in the Caribbean, we have to find a way to get our sport more up there to compete with the bigger sports. Because I personally don't think that we're doing enough marketing for the players, the world class players. That is like Marlon and all of these guys from Sweden.
Yeah, I think there should be a household
even the
names.
World Championship came from last year. I was very disappointed that it wasn't marketed much better than what it was. You know, a lot of people didn't even see the game, and I didn't see any commercials and advertisement, and you know, I was a bit disappointed. So I think from the ITTF level, I think they need to do more to market the superstars of the sport.
All right, and I would agree, but you must recognize that the ITTF was coming off 2 years of a pandemic, and that competition in Houston, the funding was not that much available, and it was a singles competition as opposed to the teams competition. This year in Chengdu, it did have a lot of marketing, and it was all over the world. But going back to what you said about Africa, Africa has Quadri Aruna, who has made millions of dollars in table tennis. But Quadri Aruna is from Nigeria that has a population of 180 million people. And so when he gets a sponsorship in Nigeria, he makes lots of money. Compare that with Adriana Diaz from Puerto Rico of $3.5 million. The difference is that the per capita income of Puerto Rico as opposed to Nigeria is like 3 or 4 times more than their country. So, but she makes a tremendous amount of money as well. So Quadri is very well off. All the top table tennis players in the world, the top 20 table tennis players are millionaires. Look at Hugo Calderano from Brazil. His sponsorship in Brazil, another country of 180 million people, is tremendous. I mean, you know, so the fact is that the top 20, 30, 40 players in the world do exceptionally well. Kamal Achanta from India, a country of 1.4 billion people. He's number 40 in the world. You can well imagine once he gets one sponsorship, I mean, he's in the money. So the money is there once you come from huge countries. In tiny countries like ours, it'll be much, much more difficult unless you get really, really up there at the highest level. Yeah, and my point is that because we have the talent, I think if we put the structures in place and if we have the discipline to maintain those structures, we will find 1 or 2, 3 players emerging. And of course, they will do well. I actually believe that. I think with the ITTF, there's a tremendous amount of work that is being done. I've looked at some of what has been happening recently, and I believe they're on the right path. There's a summit coming up in Amman, Jordan, and I'll be there And some of the things that you mentioned, we're looking at as well. And in fact, there's even a meeting before that in Santiago, Chile, in about a week's time, and I'll also be there. And that's the ITTF America Summit, and the ITTF president will be there as well. So all of those things with respect to increasing revenues for our players and the like, those things are definitely on the table and will be discussed.
Okay, then Teddy. So in terms of the Caribbean Championships, can you give us some details on when this will be held, the next championship senior event and the juniors?
Well, the senior event is definitely going to be in March. We want to also have the youth. I've got to be careful these days with the word junior because they're now calling the under-19 the youth championships, and the under-15 is the cadet. So the cadet and youth championships is going to be in March as well, and the senior championships is going to be in March, and both are slated for Guyana. We are still working out the dates, but it all must happen before the end of March because these are qualification competitions for the Pan Am Youth Games and not the Pan Am Youth Games, the Pan Am Games, which is going to be in Santiago, Chile in November in 2023.
Okay, Teddy, I want to thank you for coming on Primal Sports today. Thank you very much.
Oh, the interview is finished already. I thought I would be in here for another hour chatting with you guys. Maybe another time. But thank you, gentlemen. It's nice to see you.
I'm sure you'll be back on the show. I know you're a busy man. We have contacts with you, so we'll get you on back on the show when.
Certainly. And some of the things that your colleague mentioned, I am sure that I'll have much more information the next time around so we can discuss. Because after Chile, you could ask me to come back on and then we could have a really nice discussion.
Yeah, and I know you have
that'll be great. That will be great.
Yeah, and I know you have Caribbean table tennis in good steads and you want better for us. And I know you're one of the key figures to push this forward. And I wish you all the best and good luck with all the meetings and hopefully we'll get this thing back up.
Before you go, Kane, I've been involved in Caribbean table tennis since 1971, and I have a passion for all Caribbean table tennis. I love it so much.
I know this.
I want to continue in it and to see that we do prosper, and I think that we will. I do believe that, and for the future, you will see that happening if I can get everybody to recognize and understand what the real path is and why it is important to go down that path so that we could be successful.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's Teddy Matthews, Caribbean Table Tennis President.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, I mean,
yes,
we see it a lot in sports. We don't like to call them minor sports, but sports that need a lot of investment. I mean,
and marketing of the players, and even the fact that you mentioned that the salaries, we would not know that.
I put that in the package of investment.
You need to get that out there, so when kids looking on and say, "Wow, table tennis can," you don't
see it on the television.
The kids are watching these things.
Of course, see it on the television, see it on billboards.
Yeah, man.
I mean, see it on social media.
Have some cribs. Let's look at Marlon crib. You know what I mean. Let's get
life of the table tennis player.
Get it more out there, so we can draw some talent to the sport instead of they going off the baseball and basketball and football because they see all of these.
And not everyone will become world class on it, but with a larger pool, will be.
And I touched on
top.
Africa a while ago, and you only named 2 players. Africa is a big continent, man. Africa probably have the most talent.
I mean, in other sports you can name multiple African players, footballers.
Exactly. I mean, so that was my point. It's not the kids not going to look towards the sport because the incentive factor is just not being shown. If it's there, it's not being shown. All right. But no, you know what time is it now? You know what time.
It's not the midway point, but definitely time for sports commentary.
Yes, but I made a little adjustment this week.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kane Watson. Good afternoon, Dale Parham. Dale, welcome back to Jamaica, man. You had a very successful tour in Guyana.
Yes,
I hear you didn't want to come back.
Not really.
But you're here. You're back. Yes. So, guys, later on tonight, World Table Tennis is at a crucial point. And 2 Chinese will be competing against 2 non-Chinese. Semifinals of WTT Macau will see world number 1, Fan Jiandong, playing against Lin Yunju from Taiwan. Big game. The other semifinals will see Truls Morgat, who was the finalist in last World Championship, living up to the seeding. And he's going to be playing against Wang Chu Chin, the coming man from China. Dale, I don't know if you remember, about 4 years ago, I pointed out that this little left hand guy is going to be a world beater, you know, and he's getting there. He just beat Malong in the quarterfinals. So I'm salivating. I have a lot of table tennis to watch tonight. But also tonight, UFC 180, the big fight between Oliveira and what's his name again? The grappler from Uzbekistan or where it is. Big fight.
Machikov.
Machikov. It's gonna be a big fight, and my money is on Oliveira. I think Oliveira is gonna win by Kimura, or at least by rear naked choke. I've run the numbers, guys. So I don't know what, I mean, he's never been the favorite. What is funny about Oliveira? He's never been the favorite in all of the big matchups, and yet he rises. He continues to persist. So I've become a fan, and I think the match is probably over by now. They're going to show it delayed in this side of the world. What did you do on National Heroes Day? I saw 2 runners collect honors. I have some opinions on it. I saw Shelly-Ann in a pink outfit, collected with feathers coming out of the sleeves and the legs, kind of a interesting look. And I saw Sherika also collecting honors. But guys, isn't it a bit soon? I see Shelly-Ann. You don't think it's a bit soon to be giving Sherika national honors? Yeah, she won, one medal. But I think we could wait a little bit. One medal is not always so easy to win, But at the same time, I think national honors could wait a little bit. Some people might be upset with me, but I'm going to call it as it is. I'm very upset about West Indies losing to 2 teams from the UK, and none of them is England. They lose to Scotland, and then, a bug side Scotland, and equally weak Ireland. I wonder who next from the British. The British have Faroe Islands and Falkland. It's only them one left to beat the West Indies, That's a serious humiliation. I want to talk about humiliation. Many times in sport, there's ways to win and make your opponent look bad. Humiliate your opponent. In cricket, you can bowl the bowler behind his legs. There are all kind of things. You can knock him down. In basketball, there's the dunk on top of the player. You jump in the air and you slam the ball and then you posture up. We just dunked on you, boy. In the sprints, we see runners now wagging their hands when they win the race. Taboga, where you trying to run with me, boy? There is none in golf that I can think of. In table tennis, there are things that you do to humiliate your opponent. Recently, I played Kane Watson, and he hit a shot, called around the net. Kind of humiliating because it shows superiority. And Kane, you shouldn't be showing superiority to me. But around the net shot in table tennis is the one that makes you feel bad. I have, for example, done a shot that Timo Boll is famous for, the switch on. I hit a left-hand switch against the Venezuela #1 at one point. One of the best shots I ever hit in the game. But the most humiliating shot, there's a shot called the snake in table tennis, where you waggle underneath the table. Your opponent swings and then might hit off his nose. It's very humiliating. But I saw a shot in the WTT Macau called the roller. Very rare shot, where you hit around in it, but it doesn't bounce on the table. It skates along the table. Impossible to return. And it humiliates your opponent. Well, today's talk is about another thing called the nutmeg. In football, how you humiliate your opponent. You do what's called the nutmeg. Now, I've done a doctoral study on the nutmeg. The nutmeg is a subject in which I am uniquely qualified to speak about. The nutmeg. In Wikipedia, nutmeg, tunnel nut, meg nut, panna, brooksy, codling is a skill used mostly in football to put the ball between your opponent's legs. It is humiliating. I did some research. In Trinidad and Tobago, they call it breeding. The player breed you. That means you push the ball between your legs. In Botswana, it's called the kitchen or the caefta. In Brazil, they call it janelinha or the little window when you salad a man. In China, where I played a little football as well, it's called chuandang. Chuandang. In Germany, they call it Beinschuss, which means leg shot. In Jamaica, we call it
salad.
Salad. I'm not sure. I've been doing some research. I'm going to tell you why it's called a salad as well. In Japan, it's called matanuki, the crotch punch, matanuki. In the rest of the world, they call it panna, which it means salad in some way. I don't know. But I did some study. I read a research paper called The Ethnography of Football and Masculinity in Jamaica, what it means about the salad. And in Jamaica, we play a game which is defined as a barbaric version of a game where a player is relentlessly kicked by his peers if he's saladed. It's called salad a kick. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, but if in Jamaica, if the ball is put through your salad, bad things happen. You are kicked by your opponent. It's a barbaric form, but it happens down there. When I used to play for university in Trinidad, and the one thing they always told us when we're going out, gentlemen, protect your salad. And many times Jamaicans, it's such a shameful thing to be saladed that many times players are there protecting their salad instead of trying to play football. You don't want to get saladed. The most perfect salad in football was probably Suarez. Luis Suarez was well known for his salad in that it never touched the two legs, it just got clean through. That was Luis Suarez salad. In England, the best salad player now is a player from, where's that country? Portugal. His name is Trincao. He plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And the feature of watching him play is that he's gotten a salad almost every game. Now, Trincao is great with his dribbling and all this kind of thing, but Trincao, in all the time he's salading and piling everybody, he scored 1 goal in his entire career in England. One of the most famous salads we need to talk about was when Tostão from Brazil saladed Bobby Moore of England. It was talked about for many years. And as a matter of fact, Tostão was asked, why did he salad Bobby Moore? And he said that he saw the coach warming up a man on the side. And he knew he was going to take off Pele. And so he showed that he could salad Bobby Moore. He went looking for England's captain, who England were the defending World Cup champions, 66. This was in 1970. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is, who is the king of salad? Who is the greatest salad player of all time? Well, I found out it's Pele, and I have video evidence of it. Pele was famous not just for the salad, but the equally more rare double salad. Pele would often salad 2 players in a row, and he did it at will. I did some research. It is said that a Jamaican saladed Pele. But we asked Alan Skillcole, did you salad Pele, sir? Alan said no such thing occurred. Big players are very nervous about protecting their salads. So you don't salad a big player just like that. However, I'm going to tell you now about some of the most famous salads of all time. Messi has only been saladed. I don't know if the English on that is proper, Nutmeg. Messi has only been saladed once by a Valencia midfielder called Francis Coquelin, who managed to salad, and it's on video. He managed to salad Messi because Messi covered left and right and he put the ball through Messi's salad. Messi fell on the floor. He was shocked because he had spent 20 years protecting his salad. Now, another time the football world was stunned was when Maradona was saladed by Romario. And Maradona came off the field red-faced because he had been saladed for the first time in his life. But there are 2 more famous salads than these 2 I raised to you. The great Johan Cruyff was playing against George Best in an international between Holland and Ireland. And George Best predicted the salad. George Best told the media, I am going to salad that man. And guess what? Within 2 minutes of the game, he took the ball and went looking for Cruyff and saladed Johan Cruyff. That was how tricky George Best was. Pele has saladed 2 of the most famous defenders of all time. He did a salad of Beckenbauer, which I was looking on in black and white, when he saladed Beckenbauer and scored the goal. That was also very famous. But the most famous salad of all time, Pele was the first black player to ever score in the World Cup. Did it in mid-50s. And Eusebio was also the second most famous black player of all time. He played for Portugal. And the players have only played 3 times. And the big argument was whether Eusebio was better than Pele. Pele settled the argument once and for all by taking the ball and finding Eusebio and saladed him with a double salad. Front salad, back salad. Most famous salad of all time. I know you guys tired of hearing about salad. And then finally, there is no way Controversy Boss would be on the air tonight without telling you how to solve the Cristiano Ronaldo problem. Manchester United has been punishing Cristiano Ronaldo. I want to say victimizing Cristiano Ronaldo. Because Cristiano Ronaldo is not happy there. And there's talk about money and all that. Well, I have a solution to the problem. And, you can congratulate me afterwards. I've been solving a lot of the world's problems, as you guys are aware. And I have a simple solution. There's another player, Paris Saint-Germain, who wants to leave. And I think the easiest solution is swap the two players.
Mbappe.
Make Mbappe go to Manchester and make Ronaldo go and play with PSG. What is the upside of it? Mbappe will be happy to play with a new team. He doesn't want Messi doing all the work and giving it to him on a plate. Ronaldo will be happy to kick those balls in the goal. It would be one of the greatest strike forces since the national team had Simon Tomlinson, Kane Watson, and Peter Mouyong. 3 best players playing in one team. And I'm saying you have a team for PSG with the 3 big guys playing. Mbappe would be free to go and play in England. And the world can thank me for it. I'll come and collect my check later on. That's sports commentary. What say you?
Yes, guys.
Salad.
Yeah, remember, the phone line is now open. Number to call via WhatsApp is 876-552-7406. That's 1-876-552-7406.
I think after the show I'm going to have a vegan salad or a chicken salad. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of salad in there, but deep research. I mean, I didn't know all these different names in all these different countries, but yeah.
It went very specific too. Who salad, who and
Yeah.
when.
Pele at this way, man.
Yes,
But yeah.
that was a good one. That was a good one.
But yeah, since we're on the topic of football, I mean, you have to big up Benzema for winning the Ballon d'Or. I mean, one of the widest victories of winning the Ballon d'Or. I mean, he did it all in the past year, scoring a lot of goals, key goals for both club and country, lifting the Champions League. And I mean, it was a one-horse race. I mean, Benzema definitely deserved the Ballon d'Or. I mean, going forward for next year, first call of the day, right off the bat. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Mr. Garvey.
Long time, man. Long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been
Quite
a minute.
a while.
Yeah, we're still Primal. We're still here.
Yeah, man. Still listening in.
Yeah.
Following you guys on the Facebook and all that. You know,
Yeah.
Great job. I think you guys were a bit last week. I'm not too sure what happened last week.
Yeah.
I think you guys were off it. No one was hearing from you last week at all.
Yeah. Yeah, my co-host was out of the island. I had some issues to deal with on the road.
All right. So
Sorry about that.
spend my time pretty quickly. In regards to, I listened to Teddy, what Ted Dujon is doing. And I mean, you can't help but, think about what is happening, in Jamaica in terms of table tennis. And to your point, where you're mentioning about the marketability, I think it's Dale mentioned about the marketability of the sport and so forth.
Yeah.
The first thing you have to do, is think about Peter is a businessman. If you're gonna put money into a sport, the first thing before we start to talk about not even Caribbean class or rural class, is to really get it right at home first. That's the first thing. So we have to look at what is happening with the sport. Just the basics. In other words, David, we have to master the basics first. So what do we mean by that? We have to get it right at the school level. Just the little things. We have to get a proper club structure. I can bet my last dollar that if you get that basic part right and start that development, and then you start to get in the media and people can see things happening into the communities, that is fine. That is the time when people, you will start to really...
Yeah, I was not referring to Jamaica, do you know? I was not referring to Jamaica. I was referring to IT, the international and the Caribbean, not Jamaica.
When you mentioned the Caribbean, I'm counting Jamaica as part of that.
Oh,
The Caribbean.
no.
I'm saying that this program is being aired out of Jamaica, so we can help us look at what is happening. And I'm saying that one of the things that we ought to get right, and I don't know if Andrew Lou is listening in, and we ought to get it. We're not getting the basics right. And we have to look at what is happening. We hardly see there's no head of marketing, nothing. We don't hear what is happening in the sport. And I'm saying that before we start to develop players in top 50 and all those nice things that Teddy talk about is happening in Nigeria and Puerto Rico and all the other places, before we can reach there, we have to get the basics right. And that is where I would want to see the coach, yourself as a coach, Dale,
Yeah.
and the association spend some time to really set up a structure. Coming out of the structure now, you're going to see the players. But the way we do it now and to get people interested, the kids will definitely ask them what is it so because, they're not seeing themselves regular on television, they're not, a lot of things that happen in terms of the type of exposure that these young people want. So I really think that comes to be, it's now 2 years now since the association has been, the new administrators have been in. We ought to see something are here about something and, to really get the basics right, and then you will see other things follow.
Yes,
the money will follow when they hear about the structure, then they come in with the structure with the school, and then the whole publicity. Then if somebody will want to put their last dollar in investing in to say, hey, I can put my money here with my product because this is doing well.
Yes, without a doubt. Once you have the numbers, and I'm more for local development. Once you have the numbers, everything else is a domino effect. That is so true. You have. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, so I mean, that is my piece in terms of in terms of the team. The other thing I want to quickly touch on, I think before I jump on, is the matter of the whole football thing and Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, from a footballing standpoint, I think he has reached a stage where, he's obviously at next birthday being 38. He's not the same player.
Yeah.
There's no, by the way, the only reason, and I'm just adding the repeat, the only reason why he's still at Manchester United is because none of the top teams in the world, he wanted to go to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
They weren't willing to take him. He tried to get into Chelsea didn't want him. He tried to get into Arsenal. He tried to go to PSG. So nobody's going to be paying him 500. His salary now is 500,000 a week. That's what he's on. And last year he did 24 goals from 13 matches. This year he is, I think, 2 goals from 14 matches. What he's doing by walking down the tunnel with 3 minutes to go, and this is not the first time, by the way,
Yeah.
he walked off in pre-season too.
Yeah, it's not the first one.
And they charge him 2 weeks pay for that. But
Yeah.
he's no longer, there's no way, by the way, Manchester United is not an attractive club for
Destination.
going there. He turned down million to go to Real Madrid. But Ronaldo, I think the way, with his career winding down, I think his legacy is being hurt by the way he's behaving now. And the Manchester United has performed better without him. No doubt. So I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think that type of behavior it's not good for the sport. It's not good for it. This type of thing where you're not knocking a multi-millionaire, but this type of thing where after match you jump on a plane and you leave. Football is a team sport. He's not a team where he can single-handedly win matches anymore.
Yeah.
For any team, he has to depend on the rest of the team players. And what he's doing is really showing off on the other players.
Yeah, he's more for distraction at this point.
I don't think he's doing it to show off on them. That my take is that he's wanting to play. He wants to play, and he's been robbed of that. He's better than Sancho and Rashford even on his off day. Sancho and Rashford is not playing top level football either which way, and he's on the bench while these players are on the pitch. I think they're spiting him. Plus, in terms of him being rotated, I don't think he feels that he's been rotated well enough. He understands the role he's been playing and know that he'll be playing less, but yet still to put him on in the 87th minute when your team is up 2-0. To make a change whereby it's not defensive, you're putting on one of your best strikers, so to say. Last year he was the leading goal scorer for the team. This year probably dipping from people attached to his age, but I feel that if he plays enough, he will score more goals and probably not to that output.
He's not getting enough on the field time.
But he will score more than Rashford and Sancho given the playing time. I feel that he wants to go out playing, but being on the bench, I think he just cannot accept that because there's pros and cons to his mentality. And we all see the pros, and the pros is that 700 plus goals, one of the greatest things ever touched for. But yet still, to work that hard, you still have to have that egotistical, that maniac type of mentality where you are sort of subdued within yourself.
That's
so,
what you're not
to
understanding.
be on the bench, you cannot put aside that at any point in your career
You
to
don't
just be
bench
like,
a Cristiano
you cannot
Ronaldo.
bench a
You
Cristiano.
don't bench a Michael Jordan.
No, you can't bench him, but you can't put him on in 87 minutes with 3 minutes to go.
Brother, you do not bench a Michael Jordan. You don't bench a.
I mean, you. No, he's not at his prime, but he's still better,
than them.
He's still better than Rashford and Sancho.
He's their best player.
I don't think he's their best player, but even so, I think that all right, you play him for 40 minutes or play him for 30.
You don't think the coach?
He got a chance in Newcastle. Don't forget, he played almost 90 minutes for Newcastle.
Yeah.
What was the score at home?
Yeah.
Keith, what was the score against Manchester City?
Rashford and Sancho been playing for and not scoring either.
When City played MU and they benched the man, what was the score? How did the attack look for Manchester United?
I mean, that's a bad comparison because everybody will go look bad against City.
No. The point is, no. Let me explain something about football. If you have a big 1 second, Keith. 1 second, Keith. Keith. All I'm saying is, when you have a big striker on the field, the defense has to pay attention to him. The midfield has to pay attention to him. Manchester City would have to play different if you know that there's a big goal scorer on the other side. When you play Manchester United and you have a weak team.
And he's a big game player, but even so, I understand where that he can't play as much minutes as he used to. But I mean, to put him on.
Your phone on in the background.
Let me just check.
I mean, to put him on in 87 minutes. I mean, I can see where he just lost it. I'm not agreeing with his attitude. I think that should be dealt with behind closed doors. Yeah. He's frustrated. No, I don't think he's reacting out of thinking he's bigger than the team. But why put on a 38-year-old with 3 minutes to go then?
Yeah, but you know what he needs to do? I don't know if you follow today what is happening.
Yeah, I follow.
He's going to be a free agent. And guess
Yeah.
what? None of the big teams. What he's doing now, no coach wants to work with players like those.
Well, I mean,
He's not the same player.
I'm not agreeing with his attitude. I didn't think he should have. Well, I think he should have been dealt with behind closed doors. But I mean, I think he's frustrated.
We all have to deal with disappointment. Whether it's work, whether it's in our personal life.
Yeah.
You don't deal with disappointment.
And he's human. He's also human as well. He's also human. It's clearly a mistake on his part, but I think he's doing it out of frustration, not disrespect to the coach, not disrespect to the club. I just think he's frustrated and he wants out and he doesn't know what to do and just like refuse to go on. I mean, I'm not willing to accept the role that you're willing to give me. I'm bigger than the role that you're willing to give me.
I'm sure you guys are talking more about it.
Yeah.
It's something that we'll be having much more discussion.
Yeah, yes.
And we'll also be watching his progress to where he moves on to next. Because right now, the way he's behaving, nobody wants to work with him. Top teams want him. So, you know, we will see, and they know more than you and I about football. So we will see where he ends up next. Because chances are he's going to be a free agent come
January. Yeah.
And therefore, you know,
we'll see who snaps him up.
Okay.
He's just not the same. He may have been one of the greatest of all time, but he's just not the same player now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
thank you.
So, yeah, man. That's my piece there.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for calling.
My question to both you and Peter. You think Messi would have reacted the same way?
No.
Let me answer your question. I'm going to point out something to you. You don't bring a champion striker into a field.
Fighting him though.
You bring him into a team. What I'm saying, you bring him into a team, you're going to have to build the team around that player. You don't bring in a marquee player.
It's not like he's injured.
Team around him. And let me tell you something. My eye, maybe Keith's eye sharper than mine, but I have not seen any diminution in Cristiano Ronaldo's ability to score a goal.
I think he's just having a bad patch, bad form. He's still working hard.
They've been benching him. They've been benching him.
He's definitely dipping form. But I think he needs more playing time. And I
watch
think
him this World Cup and make it
all right.
Watch him this World Cup and
I think he'll raise back his stake after the World Cup. I don't think Portugal will win, but I think that he performed well.
What's the purpose of a coach? What's the purpose? Bring out the best out of a person. That's what the purpose of a coach is. The man have an asset on his hand.
And also was to stabilize things.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but hold on. All I'm saying is, if I took over Manchester United, let's say Ten Hag take over Manchester United, and there's a player there that I'm not going to work with because I have some idea of how the team must work, I move him one time, I get rid of him, I pay him off. I'm not going to be doing this thing to frustrate the player. The man is a treasure, not just to Man U, to the world, to Cristiano Ronaldo, to the sport. And therefore, for Ten Hag to have the man sit down on the bench, he brought him on in a 1 game, 2-3 games ago, and he scored. That's embarrassing because they asked him, why did you rest the player in the derby, the Manchester derby? And he said, I rested him because I didn't want to subject him to the shame of losing, the humiliation.
There's something else to it.
That's what the man said.
Yeah,
that's what the man said.
one thing I know, your grandchildren and great grandchildren will know Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but it's followed than IG is like what the
most
the highest.
yeah.
No. And the next thing is,
So
I hear, I'm not singling out Keith, but I've heard the sentiment. It's almost like we have to watch the man. People are obsessed with his 38 years. They are obsessed with his 38 years.
I'm not promoting.
And the other obsession is that the man flies a private jet. I mean, come on. The man earned that already,
I'm not promoting.
I watch what's happening on the field. That's all I watch.
But even so, I'm not promoting the attitude that he displayed of walking down the tunnel.
It's a reaction.
It's a reaction.
It's a reaction.
And he's frustrated.
Yeah,
he wants out and you're stopping him from going
you
out.
You observe the behavior of people like Ibrahimovic?
There you go.
No,
You observe them man, there's big ball, big
bad
dog.
example.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
the point I'm making is
it's not role
action
model
breeds
behavior, but
reaction.
yeah.
Action breeds reaction.
And
You have to know work with people.
Why
Yeah,
put
I
on a
understand.
38-year-old 3 minutes ago? Why not put on a squad player, somebody that needs experience?
Yeah, but
somebody need a big
It's
man.
embarrassing.
Not only
It's embarrassing.
one of the best ever.
Precisely.
Can I tell you something?
Precisely.
I used to watch.
But suppose it was another 38-year-old. Would you put him on?
The man is a
wouldn't.
special man.
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I used to
I
watch.
think the coach is trying to spite him.
Deal.
There's something going
Deal.
on.
You're a
I think
coach.
the coach is flexing
big
muscle.
man like
Yeah.
Cristiano.
Yeah.
Flexing muscle and
No,
all
it's
that
an arms
thing.
house.
Arms house.
You're a coach, right? And I remember seeing one time Chicago Bulls playing a series. And this was the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls. And in the last part, I see Phil call the man in a little huddle. 1 minute left to go. And Michael come and say, listen, guys, I need the ball. Give me the ball. Because I'm asking you, what we come there to watch? We come to watch Michael Jordan or we come to watch Phil Jackson, coach. And they gave the ball to Michael and Michael's fadeaway jump up, 1 by 1 point.
Imagine LeBron right now, age 30.
Same thing we're saying.
LeBron, the game is over.
Yes.
I mean, LeBron is fit. LeBron is not injured.
Yeah.
He's a bit deep in form. And the coach says, LeBron, you're up.
Yeah.
Garbage time.
Garbage time.
Yeah,
LeBron,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
up. And you
Game
put
loser.
on LeBron.
Yeah.
Your team is up by 15 points.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
don't play him all game.
You don't do that with the big man.
And you say, LeBron,
yeah.
you're up.
Him deserve better than that.
And then you complain about the man's reaction. I think that reaction is human.
Will you put
And
on LeBron with your team up by 15
no.
points?
Game done win already.
With
Yeah.
3 minutes to go, and you put on LeBron at 38, and you know he might risk injury.
Hands on.
All right. Would you put on LeBron? Who you going to put on? The squad
anybody
players.
but. Anybody but.
Anybody but.
Anybody
him, man.
but. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Cristiano Ronaldo fan, but
Yeah.
I can see where he's frustrated.
Me neither.
And I
But
mean,
what I saw is a reaction. It's Spurs. It was Spurs. They were,
Yeah, and they were up 2-0.
What I saw was a reaction. It's a human reaction.
yeah. And
I
it's not
think-
like he's a defensive.
I think the man is a star, and that's the only
substitution.
forum. Yeah.
So we'll wait for World Cup, man.
Yeah, man.
You think him a
A lot of arguing going second
Yeah.
in the World Cup.
I think he'll raise back his stake, but him so his career is coming to an end and he wants to play and go to the bank. Let it be that he's deep in form, let it be injury, let it be something else than sitting on the bench.
Messi out there playing and
I want
When he's
Argentina to
fit-
put the baller on the same field with Messi. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, I think
Because the baller is a baller, you know.
I think he might be injured.
I don't think he's injured.
I think he might. I
don't
don't
think
think
he's
so sure. I think Dybala and Di Maria is injured
again.
Di Maria was injured.
Jesus.
They need
I'm
Di
not sure.
Maria-
I
they
don't
need-
think they're out for the World Cup, but at
Yeah.
this point, both are tentative because we even see Rafael Varane getting injured for Manchester United today. French player, he might be
I
out for the World
saw
Cup.
Richarlison get a little knock 2 weeks ago and everybody,
Diego Jota for Portugal,
Yeah.
he plays for Liverpool, is out for the World Cup. So leading up to World Cup, we see where some players are getting injured. We expect this happens in every season. See where players come and go. Pogba coming back into fitness now, not much ready, but he is fit and might play World Cup. Hasn't played a club match all
I
season.
haven't seen him at all.
I mean, so players are getting injured. Players are priming to form. we have top players that won't even play the World Cup, as you touched on last week.
Yeah.
We see Haaland scoring 2 goals today, now taking his tie to 17 goals.
Yeah.
The record is,
I labeled him the goal machine from the transfer. You recall, Dale? I said it,
17 goals.
I said it's going to be miserable.
The record for a 38-game season is 32 goals by Mo Salah for Premier League. The record is 34 goals for Alan Shearer and Nicole.
Well,
42 games. It was a 42-game season though.
What do you guys make?
I think he'll pass both.
What do you guys make of the Englishman Shearer? All of a sudden talking about Harry Kane in the same conversation as we're talking about Haaland.
What do you think, Peter?
He's scoring a lot of goals.
World Cup is coming around.
I don't think they're in the same conversation.
I mean, he's British.
I don't think Harry Kane
The
is
media.
on the level of striker as Haaland. I think Haaland is something special, really special.
Something special, but Kane is also a decent striker.
Harry Kane is a good striker.
I said decent, good
He's a
striker.
good striker.
A good striker. One of the top strikers
It's
in the
like,
world.
when you go to school and they say Kane tries hard, Kane
But I mean, and Haaland is younger.
Yeah.
And he needs more top seasons, top flight football, and more
But on a
consistent.
personal note-
this guy just scores goals.
On a personal note, you hit a run in it against me this week.
Shoot.
I was really offended in a
I
Kane.
mean, I do that in my sleep.
I felt a little humiliated.
I just walked off in the
I felt
street.
a little humiliated by
I just
it,
walked off the street and came into the TT and just made that
But
running
let,
it.
but let me ask you
Look
something.
easy.
Have I ever hit a left hand against you?
Yes, you have. Yeah.
Okay, well, that gives me some comfort.
And I was quite upset when he actually won the point too, and I was like,
I hit one against Ludlow Bailey in a league match 2 years ago, and he was offended. My friend was offended.
Just, right now I look out for that shot. Anytime I push it and I push it back,
I know.
I just be like, if you dare put that in there, I'm not making that happen again. But
Yes.
but, I mean, also I'll touch on netball. Netball is wrapping up today. The World Cup 2023 regional qualifier for the Americas region is going on for the past week, and we see where Jamaica automatic qualifiers host. We're playing.
But how important is that, Kane? I mean,
touch on something to watch.
No, but they play netball anywhere else except the Caribbean and a couple other countries.
Africa, play netball in Africa. I mean, England, Australia, New Zealand.
I mean, I get a sense of pride when it's the games going on.
Can you
don't get
imagine?
me wrong. Yeah.
Can you imagine Zimbabwe or Scotland or Ireland beating us in netball?
This is true. Where was it played?
They are beating us in cricket, you know.
Where did they play?
Who mean who?
The netball. Where was it played?
No, it's playing now in Jamaica.
Oh, it's
Indoor
in
City.
Jamaica?
Yes. We
That
started
was
October 16. It's finishing today. We're playing Trinidad at 5:15.
But you know what's good about that? We don't have a visa problem for once. I don't think people from St. Catherine have a problem getting a visa to come to Kingston.
Trinidad and Barbados are also the other two qualifiers.
Yes.
You see where USA is up there playing Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
But we'd like to see the other countries. Yeah, America playing.
No, I saw the results, but I didn't know it was being played in
it's
Kingston.
playing, indoor center. And
All right,
that's
well, that's
wrapping up now. Well, this evening is the final day. And it's good to see competitions like that being held in Jamaica. And I mean,
I'm eager to get home because I need to go watch the UFC. I want to see if Makachev can pull it off against Oliveira.
I'm good with Makachev.
He's the better's favorite, you know.
Yeah, I'm good with
But
Makachev.
like I said, I predicted that because one is a jiu-jitsu, one is wrestling. The jiu-jitsu man have the better chance of a submission. Oliveira leads the tables in submission type wins, and because of the chokes and so on in jiu-jitsu. You guys might know I did a bit of jiu-jitsu myself, so I usually am able to work my way to the rear naked choke or the kimura, my specialty, and the armbar as well. But you know.
yeah. I've never seen it live in action, but I believe. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, World Cup coming up next month. I think that leading up to the future shows coming up, we talk a lot more and delve deeper into World Cup.
I saw that the two best goalkeepers in the world. I was looking at the rankings. 2 Brazilians up there, you know, in the 2 of the 3. Leave out the German guy, and I don't think Schmeichel's son is all that good. But the Brazilian keeper for
Liverpool, Alisson.
and Alisson and the other guy.
Edison for Man City.
They're both good keepers. And it's very rare that Brazil have good keepers. And so I think that this year Brazil is so strong. 3 players for every position.
I'm not so sold on Brazil's midfield and defense line. I think they're okay. I think they have most of Brazil players play the same position, and
they have a lot of right-sided players,
right side, left side attacking players.
Yeah.
The Neymars.
Well, if you're attacking, you don't have to be doing too much defending, you know.
How the defensive
Strong
line?
defense in championships.
How the defensive line?
The Brazil
decent.
defensive line looked pretty decent to me, and
Decent.
based on the competition I've seen, I've not seen any lack of organization or anything. But I can't judge. World Cup is going to show us.
Got a beat
Because-
from Germany a couple of years ago. It didn't look good. Man.
No, that was it 7-1?
Yes, it was 7-1.
That 7-1 from Germany was the same mistake repeated several times over.
Yeah.
It's almost like in table tennis. If I push long and I keep pushing long, I'm going to pay the price, regardless of how the relative levels are.
Over the past couple World Cup, the defensive they have defensive problems, but like we say,
The attack is so sweet that it reminds me of the 1988.
Is that attacking thing when football?
I felt good defense.
I can tell you something now. If you're attacking, you ain't defending.
Don't worry, man. You must have to defend one
So
at a time.
We shall see.
So
we shall see.
going in first, we break down World Cup more because
Yeah.
it's a month away.
Yes.
It starts November 20th and goes to December 18th. So, I mean, a couple weeks from now.
So we'll call out the
The-
experts.
The biggest show on earth.
Yeah, man, the biggest show on earth, World Cup will start. So, I mean, we have NBA going on, NBA start back. I mean, you see
Celtics
where
after blazing
Lakers
start,
looking poor. I mean,
as
do have
usual.
not shooting. I mean,
Nets
so
Firebloods again. No
yeah.
defense.
So we will break down NBA more next week. I mean, NFL, baseball is going on. World Series coming up. I mean, World Series isn't as big as the World Cup.
NFL? Or which channel carrying NFL?
Oh,
CVM got the NFL now?
wow, we need some more sports on TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
They can't hide the sports from us because we love sports on the Primal Sports X. But I mean, wrapping up the show, two great interviews. Teddy Matthews, Caribbean President, Table Tennis Association. I mean, the great Jeffrey Dujon.
Yeah.
I mean, batsman, wicketkeeper batsman. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
only player to not lose a series. I mean, spanning over 10 years. So
Great interviews.
two great interviews, and I want to thank them again for coming on, taking the time out, because two busy men, they travel all over the
True,
world.
true.
You see Teddy go in Chile, Teddy go in Jordan. I mean, and I know he has table tennis at his heart. He loves, passionate about table tennis. So I want to thank them again for coming on. I mean, my co-host back in studio.
Yes.
I mean, big up the controversial boss. I mean, one love from the Primal desk, and up next is DJ Gaddafi.
Really?
DJ Gaddafi. So
Working hard.
yeah. So keep it primal. One love from the Primal desk. See you next week.
Peace out.